Alma Digital is an end-to-end digital asset management system, and we'll see now how content can be easily deposited into the system either by patrons and users or by staff in bulk or manually. This is a form for depositing content by patrons and other end users. It's a highly configurable and customizable form, so in the backend, the staff can configure exactly which fields need to be populated here, which are mandatory, the method for populating the metadata fields, and control over the quality of the content which is uploaded, for example, formats and size of files and so on. So this is an easy and nice drag and drop UX. Here we can add a title, for example, Vermeer paintings, an abstract which can be added here, and then a simple drag and drop interface where we can take as many files as you like. You can also drag and drop an entire folder. And once this is uploaded, you have the terms and conditions. Also, this is configurable in the system. And then the deposit can be submitted into the system. The end user, the patron, then has a report on all the previous deposits and their status, if they are approved or submitted or rejected. And then there is a notification once the deposit has been approved. Each deposit profile includes a configuration of whether it includes an auto approve or whether it does require manual approval from the approval manager in the system. This depends on how much the staff trusts the source which is depositing the content. So for this deposit, the configuration does require approval. So here we can see the Vermeer paintings, which was just deposited, and the staff, the deposit manager, can then review the content, decide if it can be submitted into the repository. Otherwise, it can be assigned to another staff member or rejected and sent back to the depositor. Otherwise, this can be approved and moved on to the next stage. Once it's approved, the content is now stored in the Amazon S3 storage and the title is now being cataloged in the system. So if we do a quick search of digital titles, Vermeer paintings, we now have this representation, which we can also display in Discovery and see what it looks like in Primo. Now, a very important aspect of managing digital content is the ability to apply access right to the content. And here Alma provides a rich set of policies, which can also be configured by the users and can be set either manually to separate titles or run by a batch job in order to change a policy for an existing logical set or itemized set of digital titles. So just an example of some of these. So there are two options. One is to add multiple rules per access right policy, which means that either of them need to be met in order to allow access to the end user. Alternatively, you can create a single rule with multiple parameters, and then all of those parameters need to be met in order to access the content. So here you can see the various options that you have. You can control the number of concurrent users in case there are licensing issues which require that. There is an ability to control according to DNS, embargo, IP range, and so on. As you can see here, user group, of course, which is a common case for applying access rights. And all of these can be applied in batch. In addition, you can define, according to a specific access right, how the end user will consume the content, if they can view the content and if they can download the content. In addition to the parameters which define the conditions of accessing the content, you have the ability of defining the copyright boilerplate statements, which will be displayed to the end user. And these can be obtrusive, which means that the user must consent to the copyrights before viewing the files, otherwise it will simply be accessible through a action button on the viewer. So if we take, for example, 5 concurrent users and set the copyrights to be law of the United States and define this to be obtrusive copyrights, and now we will go back to the Vermeer paintings and assign the copyright statement and the access right policy. The access right policy is assigned on the representation level. So you could have a master high resolution copy, for example, which can be accessed only by staff or researchers. And then you can have the access copy with a different access right policy, which provides access to the public. We will edit the only representation which we currently have. Five concurrent users and save. And now when the user attempts to open the viewer, the user will then be presented with the copyright statement. And only once the copyright statement is closed, then the actual files can be displayed. Alma Digital includes multiple delivery services which you can designate on different types of content. So we have the Alma Viewer, which is fully customizable and can contain any type of content which is supported by the browser HTML5 capabilities. And beyond that, we have specialized viewers such as the Universal Viewer or the Internet Archive Book Reader, both of them based on the IIIF framework for rendering high-resolution images. So if we take, for example, the Universal Viewer, here you can see a display of the files, which is also rendered in a very efficient way for high-resolution images. You can zoom in and extract the segments in very high resolution and view the metadata similarly to other viewers. And similarly, the Internet Archive Book Reader, which provides an experience which is similar to reading a book. And here also you have the option of attaching OCR, the transcription, which can also be searched in case those are attached to the files. The discovery and delivery of digital content is strongly aligned and streamlined. So the flow is a very simple one for the end user, starting off by searching for the content. Once the full record is displayed in Primo, there is already a full view of the actual files. There is no need for any additional clicks. But then there are also further options and services down below. So on the one hand, the user can already navigate between the different files of different formats. As you can see here, there are image files, audio files, PDF. The content can already be downloaded from here. Otherwise, a full view of the delivery service can be opened in a separate tab. So here we can see the recently renewed design of the viewer. Optionally, there is also the ability of adding a full text transcription of the files on the right-hand side. For this, we have a job inside Alma for extracting full text from images and textual files, and these can then be either indexed in Primo and Primo VE or displayed side by side with the files. In addition, we have the collection management in Alma. The collection management is primarily used for storing digital content and for showcasing special collections of the institutions. You can see here the very nice collection lobby in Primo, where you can have multiple levels of sub-collections, eventually leading to the actual titles and files. All of this is highly configurable and customizable in Alma. You can actually customize the collage over here and define which images will be displayed per each collection. These files can either be uploaded from your PC or they can be selected from the files which are part of your repository. Thank you very much.